This talk is about the film Magnify with Jere B, who plays Mr. Adair in the film, and provided music from his group Sound Doctrine to the film's musical score, and Art Byrd, who wrote and directed Magnify. The interview offers some interesting insights in the making of the film. The talk took place at the Daily Grind on Market Street in Boardman.
I want to talk to you again about the connection between you and CJ. Like you said before, you've seen him grow up, and he was. Because it did seem like he was kind of groomed to be.
Chris, his dad. I mean, seriously, God. But from the time that she was carrying him, you knew that this kid, when they found out his gender, he was going to be a football player. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Chris vicariously lives through his son. He doesn't. He just had a vision for him and Taryn. And when Taryn came along, it's just like, his sons are going to play football. And so, he was like this arm baby with this little football.
Like Maslin. Every kid that's born, the football team comes and puts a little football in the crib.
Yeah, he knew. And who were the Williams, Sabrina Williams, and the tennis? You know how the dad had a vision for them?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. And so he, and then CJ picked it up, because here's a funny story, is that, CJ isn't a great drummer, or I should say was a great drummer. And, even I got footage of him. You might want to utilize that footage. Okay. It's on videotape of him at New Bethel Church, and he was playing the drums for this children's program. He couldn't have been no more than 3 years old, and he had this little tiny drum set that they brought up, and he was just playing it. So Uncle Jerry's vision was, wow, he's going to be a drummer, and I would go over there and I would teach him lessons and whatnot. That was all good, but I think football weighed out, because Dad is there. Uncle Jerry's only there for
at the game, but holding drumsticks, going
right. But no, the bottom line is Chris had a vision for his son, and that really played out. And CJ loves the game of football, and it shows.
Yeah, it does show.
And he's also a very humble young man. He is not ego tripping at all. You talk to him, all of the headlines and the stories and the articles that are starting to come to play, and will continue, because as he looks at college here, he is a very grounded young man, and none of those things kind of move him to make him think that he's more than he actually is, but just he loves the game of football.
Well, how do you think it's going to feel like being a movie star?
I don't know. That might do it. That might be the one. That might be the one that
push him over the edge. Push him over the edge. Hollywood. But the thing of him, in this movie. And I thought he kind of adapted very quickly, and once he kind of found out how we were going to do it, because, usually there's like this crew running around. It was just me,
right.
And we were using like 3 cameras. And the interesting thing was, since I didn't have anybody there, the one shot that was an angle had my shadow over it. When I got back home, I was like, oh shoot, that's a good. But I was glad it was on that one than the other ones, because we picked up things along that line. Mm-hmm. When you think about the message of Magnify, because again, it was very important to have just not the father but the mother there to show the unit for people of color.
Sure.
And that was something that was important. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel it's extremely important, because the stereotype can often be that anyone of color is there's a broken home situation, and so we have to, as filmmakers and as people in the entertainment industry, is continue to stand for what is actually traditional African American history, and that is the whole family the father treating the mother with respect, the son and daughter growing up in the home, seeing this example of a healthy marriage being played out before them, because all that's going to do is reduplicate itself as they look for mates. Being a father of 3 daughters, I know inherently that my daughters are looking for someone like me who will treat them like I treat their mom. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and you can see it in them because neither one of them, 31, 17, 14 years old, they're not bringing home any riffraff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guys that they're looking at and choosing and even have crushes on are kind of men who have it together, young men of standard, so to speak.
When you think, now, going back 6 years of when we were filming it, I have to say because I have to kind of look at it as chaotic. Did it seem, if you're going back to that day, did it seem chaotic because how we shot it was very interesting?
I didn't experience any panic or anything at all. And both of those days, the first day with respect to being at the football field with the kids, with D.C. Colvin, who always does an excellent job. I mean, there was no panic on the set from my perspective.
Okay, because I don't know, because when as a director,
you were probably panicked.
You know what? I actually, because I thought about it, I said I'm not really panicked because I knew what I needed to do. That's why I didn't I knew I needed 4 plays.
Right.
And luckily the coach, because me trying to explain football, this is what I need you guys to do. The coach, I just asked, luckily, and I didn't even plan that, I talked to the coach and I said, can you tell them, I need them to run a sweep and the guy misses the ball. And we're going to shoot it. So we shot it, and Gary and I, we met the night before and mapped out. And the thing that was very interesting is that we didn't get hit. Because if you look at all those shots, we're right in there.
Sure.
And so I really kind of planned it out. But my concern was that that's why had you an Olympia bring 2 outfits. So it looks like you were at 2 games, right? And so the one thing about it, I think people are going to notice when they play, I don't think midget football or whatever this was, they never have rematches. Unless they're playing in the playoffs and meet again.
I never even thought about that because
that's total cinematic.
They were not wearing 2 different outfits. I'm talking about the opposing team is not wearing 2 different outfits.
Right. Well, see, the whole luck out was that Ken Kolar, who was the coach of St. Christine's, loaned the jerseys. See, when I went to Newcastle, they were playing them. And so some kind of way, one of the coaches I said, is there any way that we can borrow the St. Christine to do that? So it's St. Christine's.
Wow.
But what we did was we had the uniforms, but we split the Cardinals up. So the whole team was there, so they all participated, but we had some on one scene.
But what my question was is that I didn't in 6 years I've never thought about the fact that even though it was the one Mooney team, St. Christine wearing St. Christine's outfit, so for the second game, they're still in St. Christine's outfit.
Right.
I never thought about that.
But see, that's why I put in rematch. So they wouldn't, and that's why all these things are that's probably what's on my mind. It's kind of that's why the football, the second half, we reversed it. Because if you remember, because no one was supposed to be at Cardinal Mooney's practice field when we were there. We had flag football team.
Right.
We had, they had some other people at the other, and we were filming in the middle.
I don't remember that.
I do.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
They were filming in the middle. We were filming in the middle, so we were trying to get our close-ups, and then slowly people started to leave, and then we got the whole. I know. But I was trying to figure out, because everyone wanted to leave. And so when they scored, that's why there isn't this big jubilation scene where, we won, da, 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 da. And because if you look at the one scene, the coach is just standing there. I should have had DC walk out of the, but when he comes to hug you, he's just standing there.
Sure, that's true.
So there's that's movie liberty that I had to take. But I mean, as for your experience. You've worked on films in Cleveland and everything. I don't know. It's like as a director, my whole thing is always wondering if because you can't really how should I put it, give everybody something, you know what I mean? And so I really, because Gary and I were trying not to get taken out by some, I can't call them midget football players, but football players are what they had pads, we didn't.
Right.
And so I really, like, I watched a lot of movies, All the Right Moves, what is the Blues, I forgot what the movie is with James Van Der Beek in it. That's why that one shot coming across. But we kind of designed it. Gary and I talked about it, and we kind of designed it because we had so much stuff to get in that one day. We had to get the players' reaction, we had to get the footage, those plays and everything.
Yeah.
But not to take up your time. I mean, what's something else that when you think about a project for people seeing it, what would be the takeaway for them?
I really do think that the takeaway is two things. The takeaway is the word that we use and the symbol that we use, which you can't see, but focus.
Right.
I think that's the one takeaway, is that, you know, when you're dedicated to doing something, when you're trying to lead by example, when you're trying to teach your kids something,
right.
You know, that word is so important that you focus, and I think that the harnessing the power of the sun to set that paper on fire, I mean, that really tells the whole story. And obviously the second thing is just that reinforce, you know, family, black love,
right.
African American wholeness and healthy families are here.
Right.
Do exist. CJ comes from one.
Yeah.
You know, and you can tell when you talk to him, you see his mother and father there at the game. You see that unit intact. And so that's something that you can't really act. You couldn't teach him that because he knows what that feels like, apparently.
Right. Yeah, well, I thought that was kind of the interesting thing, because when you look at the shoot, like when we first shot, the Cadillac was at Phil's house.
Yeah, wow.
It was gone.
And then it was gone. Right.
And then we were trying to get the fire for the paper,
right.
And the sun went behind the clouds and never came back out. All right, so I had to figure, and I don't know if you know this, but I had to figure out exactly, I went on the internet to figure out exactly what time the sun would be at its highest.
Wow.
To get that paper. You couldn't believe how happy I was for that paper to burn.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Because there's no faking that.
Right?
I mean, that was no faking that. And I've never seen that done except for leaves. I was like, will this really work for paper? I'm like, when that paper burned, I was like, I was the happiest man alive.
And I think CJ, he couldn't fake his reaction either. I mean, you know what you got on tape.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, wow. I mean, you know, he thought we were going to just stand there or, you know, kneel down there like we did for 15 minutes.
Yeah, no sun.
But when
yeah,
it was like, oh, this actually works.
Yeah,
you know?
so
that was cool.
Yeah, to kind of sum it up, say for instance, it's a kind of project that, like I said before, I think is kind of God-driven, because all the elements kind of came together. You, CJ, the football team,
Olympia,
getting the other DC, Olympia. If you're going, you know, and I've had Olympia in a couple other movies, and really liked her. She brought. There was a naturalness between you two. That's my baby. You know, the mother thing kicked in. You know, you don't have that for script wise.
Sure.
And so, because we shot those scenes actually with you guys reacting to the game after everybody left.
Yeah.
It was like after everybody left, and like the sound effects and everything. There were no referees and the whistles. That came from another movie. A documentary.
You just had me think about something with respect to sound mixing, but anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Magnify will be available on DVD in December. Also, be sure to get a copy of Sound Doctrine's Perseverance at sounddoctrine.com. Thanks for listening.